BBC Radio Lancashire.
Back to the stories dominating the news agenda this Monday. And as you heard in the 5 o'clock news, around 100 animal rights activists had gathered outside a pig farm on the Fyle today, protesting about the conditions in which the animals are living. The group called Meet the Victims were demonstrating outside Moss Rose piggeries near Blackpool, with many of them entering the property and staging a sit-in with the pigs. Campaigner Chris Hines spoke with our reporter Sharon Hartley and told her that their protest was peaceful.
They walked in calmly, quietly. We were obviously not trying to alarm the animals inside. Obviously, the animals' welfare is extremely high on everyone's priorities list here. And then, from then in there, they've been split off into two groups, into two separate parts of the facility, where they will sit inside until the media give adequate coverage and tell the stories of these animals.
You say you walked into the property, though. You've not been invited, so obviously you're not welcome on the property.
No, obviously, walking onto a property, it is an act of civil disobedience. But then what we think they're doing to these animals is far, far worse. I mean, in the end, these animals are going to be exploited and killed for a product that we do not require. So what we're really facing is systematic animal cruelty, which we're fighting. And I think that the thoughts and feelings of these animals inside is far, far, far more important than a few people walking onto a farm to actually expose suffering.
Have you got any evidence that there's any ill treatment of the animals? I understand it's a regulated business and it's law-abiding.
Well, I mean, legality doesn't necessarily dictate morality. And ultimately, even if this place was a fancy mansion for these pigs are still going to be sent to their slaughter. I mean, you can't exploit and kill another living being nicely. It's just not possible. The term humane slaughter in itself is an oxymoron. I mean, humane means to show compassion and benevolence. And can you ever really use those, if you're killing and exploiting someone? So, as far as things we've found in there, obviously these animals are living in their own waste, which is obviously extremely unhygienic. There are animals in there with painful prolapses that are in the isolation pens with no bedding, no signs of food or water. I mean, if there was dogs in these facilities, everyone would be outraged. We would have far more than 100 people here. We'd probably have most of the county here.
What do you want to achieve from your protest today?
What we want to do is we just want to, raise awareness for what is really going on. People are not aware of where the food on their plate is coming from. They are disconnected from the fact that these are living, breathing, sentient beings that feel and can experience well-being just as our dogs and our cats and all the animals that we love. But for some reason, because they're behind closed doors, we ignore their suffering. And it's time we stop that, especially due to the fact that we don't need to consume the products that come from them. It is not essential for us to do that. There are plenty of people that are living happily and healthy on a plant-based diet. You can get everything you need from that. Times are changing. It's time this stopped, and we just hope that people would join us on, being on the right side of history.
How will you measure the success of your protest today?
Mainly from the press that we receive. Obviously, organisations like yourself, like the BBC, are obviously valuable in getting these out to the masses because that's the reach that we don't have as individuals. And so if we can get that out and we can start a conversation, which is always the first thing to do, then obviously that's going to be successful.
I know this farm it's a family business, and the business owners are an elderly couple with a son. What would you say to them? And you're disrupting their working life, their daily life today.
Of course, and the thing is, as much as I disagree with the business they're doing, I do have sympathy for them. I understand that they are in an industry which they've probably done since the day they were born. It's possibly been within the family, but just because something's gone on for a long time, that doesn't mean that it should continue, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily moral. I mean, if we look back through time, slavery at one point was legal as well, and we don't think that's moral. We're fighting for the rights of women, for the LGBT community, and I think animal rights is now one of those things which is coming to the forefront and something that we really should be taking seriously. So all I hope is that as much as I want these industries to end, I also hope that they can transition into other lines of work that don't look to exploit and kill animals. I want them to be able to still feed their families and keep their homes. We're not here to fight against them, we're here to fight against the system.
That's Chris Hines from the protest group Meet the Victims, speaking with our reporter Sharon Hartley at Moss Rose Piggeries near Blackpool. The National Pig Association declined our invitation to speak on the programme this Monday tea time, but they did send a statement. We are horrified by the irresponsible behaviour of those involved who are seriously endangering the health and welfare of the pigs, which they claim to care so much about. With the threat of African Swine Fever being a real concern, a disease capable of decimating the entire industry, we are disappointed that they would choose to protest in a manner that could greatly increase this risk to the animals. The farm has very recently been independently audited by Farm Assurance, a government-enforced agency, and the customer, none of which found any welfare-related non-conformances. This is BBC Radio Lancashire. Monday the 8th of July 2019. Tea time with me, Brett Davis.